It is a pleasure connecting with you today, Julia and Tyler. How are you today?
Very good.
Great. I love hearing about the fun Tyler's having over there with snow.
Right? Like think about the timing and what you have to do. Like how are you doing it? I know it's a lot of thinking, a lot of processing. How is it going for you? Everything is okay?
Oh yeah. We just got snowed out today. Kids are all home from school and they've been out playing and good clean fun.
I know. Today is a really exceptional, time that we're going to be thinking about how to help people and build out things that we need, especially when people are thinking about questions and answering those questions, by researching. So it'll be good to now just let people know who you are, what you do, and just a quick introduction to give people some hindsight so they now feel like, okay, I know what's coming, or I'm not sure what's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can briefly tell you my story. About 10 years ago, I had just finished up a degree. No, I was finishing my degree. I'm in computer engineering, and I'm human, and I carry this laptop around with me all the time. And I knew that pornography was a danger for me. I tried out some internet filters, and they don't work. At least not for me. I'm tech savvy enough that I could get my way around it if I wanted to. So I thought I just need something that can watch what I'm doing online and hold me accountable to my wife. Just report to her what websites I go to, and that's all I need. Stay out of my way. Otherwise, I looked around. There were a couple things similar, but nothing worked really well. So I built my own. I called it Ever Accountable. And it's just it's an app to help people protect themselves from pornography by being transparent, being accountable. It just records what's happening on a device and sends a report to your friend, your parent, your spouse or partner, whoever you tell. And that transparency is super effective. Accountability helps us do better in whatever it is we're doing. Whether it's running a business or trying to stay away from pornography or any bad habits. So that's what we do.
That's amazing. And the words that you picked for this brand and this message, ever accountable, when you think about it, it's like evergreen. So I coined those words and I'm like, okay, this is a good way of giving people that mentality that it's forward thinking. Even though they're failing forward. So with that, knowing the business, the aspect of how you can connect with people on a digital platform, how has this been able to grow your audience as far as, building that message and keeping that sustainable as well for them to retain?
It's honestly what we're selling is not an easy sell. We're asking people to be transparent and be open. It's easy to demand accountability of our politicians and demand it of everyone else and then want privacy for ourselves. So we're asking people to choose to be accountable. And not everybody wants to do that, and I get it. But for those who do, it's incredibly powerful. It's like if you want to live on the highest level, then be accountable, be open, and that's how you can really unlock your potential.
That's amazing. And speaking of potential, business has grown now where there's a lot of conversations happening about how can they better themselves, how can they better other people. This is in different industries, different platforms, and the SaaS business is also really interesting to see. Could you tell us more about that and how that is going? Because it's the innovation has been growing to a point where now people can really understand what they need because they can specify their terms.
Yeah, so you're asking about SaaS business.
Yes.
And I could say software as a service is a great place to be. It's the barrier to entry to start a business now is so low, and I encourage everybody, like if you have a dream, man, go do it. You don't, in the old days you had to go get funding from some bank and write this big business plan, and it was really hard to start a business, whereas now anybody can do it. The barrier to entry is low, but the work barrier is not low, meaning I believe it's going to be harder than you think it will. It's going to be more complicated, and there's more competition. So you have to do an excellent job. Meaning, if you're going to go start a business, do it and be all in. You don't want to. We'll get into this later. You don't want to waste your time with porn or have things sucking the life out of your ambition. You need to bring your whole self to this thing. Yeah.
That's deep. A lot of people don't even start because they're thinking about the process instead of doing the process and going through the process while trusting the process. So the first thing you think about, and we've had this in another episode as well, where we hear about the growth zone, the comfort zone, the fear zone. And these zones are also applied and applicable to what we also do: business, family, relationship, rules, ground, terms. Those are things that we also want to live by, because we also want to build that moral structure and also become more accountable, like, how we're building it over time. How do you see that going to someone individually, building that process without them thinking too technically about the process?
Building the process. For me, I struggled for a long time with what am I going to be when I grow up? Like, where's my calling? What do I want to do? And as long as I was focused on the technical details, like, do I want to do computer engineering or programming? Those are some things I was looking at, or electrical engineering or business. I never got anywhere. It wasn't until I got behind a cause that I felt passionate about that I feel like I unleashed more of my potential. Meaning, I never answered the question, what am I going to be when I grow up? Or what do I want to do with my life? But I did say, hey, here's this problem that I really care about. I believe that we have greatness in us, each one of us. And we're not going to unleash it if we have a stupid addiction or a stupid a compulsion to go waste our lives away looking at porn, waste our ambition away. And the same would be said of any addictive behavior, And so I said, here's my one little thing I can do. I know how to write code, and so I'm going to write some software that holds people accountable to solve this problem. And that whole problem of what am I going to be, what am I going to do with my life, it's like I put that on hold and got so passionate about this, and then look back later and realize I answered it. And one day I'm doing programming, and the next day I'm doing marketing, and because when you're running a business, you just do whatever needs to be done. But I'm learning new things. I'm like stretching in directions that I never thought I would. And it's not a matter of, do I feel like doing this today? It's like, hey, that needs to be done. So that's what I'm doing today. And it's all pushing this cause forward. I think when we can get passionate about something that we really believe in, that's when life is great and it's worth living. Like, I'm not aiming to live a comfortable life. I want to live an awesome life. And I want to look back on my life when I'm an old man and just be happy with what I did and feel like I was helping people. And I don't want to have regrets that I just squandered my time away or something.
That's deep. That's very deep. And one thing that comes to my mind, which is what I talked about yesterday in one of my posts, is, time is essential and passion is influential, because people now look and say, if he could do it, I could do it. If she could do it, I could do it. So it's like that self-awareness that builds that momentum, and then you start to see those baby steps turn into, gradual steps. And that's what we're supposed to do, learn and grow.
Yeah, that's the good life. Progress and learning and growing. I'm totally with you, Favor.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about, online, where we're going with digital. Everybody's excited. It's like, it's crazy. And some people don't even want to be part of it, but some people are like, okay, let's see. Being safe online is a very important thing as well. And some people don't think about it. As simple as your email address, as simple as how do you log in, those are things people don't think about. And now when they get exposed to this kind of things, which could be really hazardous to them, both internet wise and otherwise, how can they keep themselves within that parameter that they can be able to have quality control?
Oh man, that's a great question. I think being accountable is really important. We can be accountable to ourselves, and I don't think that's as powerful as being accountable to another person, because we can talk ourselves into stuff, whereas another person can call us out more clearly. But like we all have. Someone said we all have a pattern of wasting time, or some people it's pornography, whatever it is that trips us up. There's the things that trip us each up, and we kind of fall into the same problems over and over again. And so recognizing what trips me up, and then doing something to put something in place to where I'm not even going to go close to that problem anymore. I have a friend who I just respect like crazy. He really struggled for years with pornography, and it led to stuff that nearly destroyed his marriage and was hurting his kids. It was going to destroy his marriage, and then divorce hurts kids, and so he realized that for him, and this is an extreme case, but it illustrates a point. For him, business trips were where he got in trouble, and he decided finally that he wasn't going to go on business trips anymore unless his wife came with him. That was his pattern. I'm not advising that to everybody or for myself, but for him. And so when he stopped going on business trips without his wife, he got passed over for some stuff at work, but also he found that it was building him in positive ways, because he wasn't falling into the same problems that he'd been messing up with before. And now he's getting closer to his wife, so his marriage is doing better. He's being a better dad to his kids. He's doing the stuff that he wants to do more. So sometimes I say that as an extreme example. Here's a less extreme example. They waste a lot of time on their phones, so especially at night. So charge your phone in the kitchen instead of next to your bed. We can put things in place to prevent ourselves from falling in the same traps that we always fall into. I think accountability software is great. That's what we do, and it just provides some stark honesty. Like I can't talk my friend into 2 hours playing Clash of Clans wasn't a big deal. He's like, what? You got a deadline? That's a big deal. What are you messing around for? Like, let's get on this.
Right. That's so true. That just makes me think. As I was listening to you, I was just like, wow, this is really going to change a lot of people's mindsets, because what we find online when we're young is the same thing we're going to find online now. So whatever you find is going to be based on what you know or how you know what to search for. And it's going to give you suggestions, and people need to also know, okay, I don't like that suggestion, or I prefer this suggestion. So I like where you're bringing that, as far as making sure people are accountable for what they do and how they do it. Now, when you think about the children, the young entrepreneurs, we didn't have that knowledge back then, or we did, but we didn't really. There was a difference between then and now, of course. And when you start to see the resemblance of the patterns or things that you can be able to disrupt or, put out that can at least get them to a better position earlier than when we got ourselves, when we were thinking about those things, like when you mentioned time, because if we spend 2 hours doing this instead of 40 minutes doing something else, we could be able to spend a whole day doing much more than just spending all day doing the same thing. So how can people, children, parents, how can they like make sure that this parental control, which is there, but sometimes you know how kids are smart, it's just a whole thing. So how do you get across those things that even the parent is not even technology based or tech savvy or even in that space, that they need to be doing it more intentionally without being too forward? How can that help them?
Julia, what do you think on this one?
Well, you have to have a relationship with your kids. And for us in our fast-paced moving society, in order to even have a conversation with your teenager, I'm the mom of a teen, you have to find ways to enter their world and spend time with them. So I do have barriers set up, and my daughter knows that I see everything that scrolls across her Instagram feed and even what comes in her email box. So she understands that I'm not trying to always spy on her, but I also have that available to me as a protection for her. So some parents say no social media at all, but very few. Very few of them. So I, made a choice to let her have Instagram, but I see what she has coming. It's available. So she has that accountability to me. But also we talk, and we talk about tough topics, and it's not a one-time conversation. So it'll be something that comes up in the news, like the whole Billie Eilish. I plan to have that conversation with her today, and we're talking about mental health already. So I would say you have to invest time in talking with your kids and listening.
I think the key takeaway is listening, because when we both listen, we both have constructive conversations. We lead to constructive results.
Yeah, I like what you said, Julia, that she knows that you can look at her phone, that you see what goes on her feed. I think we can introduce kids to the tech world, and we should. They're going to be living in it as adults, but we do it in stages, in age-appropriate ways. And they know, especially in the beginning, there is no expectation of privacy from their parents. Mom and dad, I believe this. My wife and I say to our kids, we have 7 kids. We think our kids are our most priceless treasure, and we say, hey, we can look at your phone at any time. Bring us your phones. We're gonna just see what's going on, and we have Ever Accountable running on there as well. And they know that. And then as they become adults, then obviously they will have privacy. Another thing, Julia, you said that's so important is talking to them in age-appropriate ways. Even with my little 3-year-old, I'll talk to her about our bodies are special, and we need to take good care of our bodies. And that's about as far as we go at that age. And we don't put things in our bodies, and then as they get older, then you start to say more. But you let them know that I am your dad, and I love you, and I am safe to talk to, and my wife too. Your mom and dad are safe to talk to, and we're not going to get mad at you for talking. We try not to make it awkward. If you're struggling with something, come talk to us. We're your friends. We're here for you. And then obviously accountability and safeguards, and know that if you've got one of these things, it's a privilege, and if it's causing you danger, if we believe that there's so many dangers on those things nowadays, the list goes on, and if we believe your safety is at stake, we will take that phone away. It is a privilege, and you can do what you want when you're an adult, but for now we're watching out for you. We love you.
That's beautiful. I love what you said, Tyler and Julia, about just the simple process startup. Like, it's a basic setup kit that allows them to feel like they can enjoy what they have without feeling like they're not part of the trend or part of what's going on. Look at TikTok. There's so many things that are going on, especially with the growth and the community they're building, because they're on Fortnite. The list goes on and on. So now it's like how do you keep them safe while being safe with them? And it's just a beautiful way you've been able to do that, and that's something we can help them do from our end, which is, what I see. Is there anything else from our end we can do that when they think about what we're doing and how we're doing it, it helps them to feel like, okay, we're getting into this place where even you might be driving an electric car one day. So how do you navigate, those things and keep them safe with technology and also safe with the community, especially with their personal and mental health?
Yeah, Julia, you were saying, what did you have on this?
Yeah, well, the mental health thing is huge, and our kids are going to be affected by other children whose mental health is, they're struggling. I am seeing that a lot with the teenagers. They are struggling. And unfortunately, child sexual abuse material is readily available, unfortunately. And so their friends are viewing this and their mental processes are being affected. And I so appreciate Billie Eilish having the courage to just name it for what it is, because, it's creating expectations in relationships that are not good, that are not healthy for our teenagers. And so talking about that and listening, like my daughter knows to tell me that her friends are struggling with their mental health. I mean, I don't force it out of her. It's because we still have that ongoing conversation, and it's okay to talk about this. It's okay to talk about, I want to hear that she got, mistreated at school today. I want to know about those things. And I think our kids also should know that, okay, it's okay to talk about, I did get into stuff online that I wasn't supposed to. They need to know that porn is the enemy and not them. They're not the problem. And so I will say it's not as cut and dried, and it's not as black and white as you'd want it to be as a parent. Digital parenting is just hard, even with accountability software, because their friends are going to be into stuff. So I think keeping a lifeline open, buy them their favorite snack and just sit and say, hey, how was your day? And try to open end the conversation.
Yeah. You asked Favor about what can each of us do, if I heard your question right.
Yeah.
I think the first thing is to just be an example, be the change. The porn industry abuses so many people. Like, let's not be taking part of that. And it like you're talking about, it gets down into taking advantage of kids. Let's speak out against it. Any initiatives going on that you hear about that are fighting against child abuse, man, let's support those. And then just, for any parents out there, we put a ton of effort into protecting our kids' physical safety, as we should. But shouldn't we be doing the same about their mental and their emotional safety? Like, nowadays, there may be even more threats to that. So, like, limiting screen time, if you're a parent, limit video games, cyberbullying, of course, pornography, and it's everywhere. There's call it softcore porn that leads into the more hard stuff, and kids are just seeing this all over the place. We need to be aware of what they're up against, and if ever we're in like a chat channel or it's online somewhere and someone's putting this stuff where kids might see it, man, get rid of it. Speak out. We don't want that here. That's certainly not for kids. I believe porn is toxic. I know I might be an extreme on this by some people's opinion. I just think that stuff, it puts expectations in our minds. I think we start thinking of other people, especially women, like objects instead of like real people. I think it's highly toxic, and you know, it's, if anything, it's a distraction from living our dreams. Like for me, my dream is to help with this cause. Your dream's probably totally different, but go out and do it. And pick a hard problem and go solve it. Who was it? Paul Graham was talking about when you start a business. I'm sorry, Favor, I'm going back a little bit in the conversation, but Paul Graham, great, brilliant guy. I highly recommend go read his blog. There's tons of awesome stuff on there. One of the things he talked about was just don't be afraid of a schlep. That's I think it's a Yiddish word. I forget where it came from, but it means like a hard climb. And he talked about sometimes when we do businesses, we just try and find something easy, but the easy stuff's all been taken. And then he takes the example of it was Stripe. They picked this credit card processing problem, and what a hard problem. You have to deal with banks, and you have to worry about fraud, and it was a schlep. But man, what a great business it's turned into. You know, and any business we do is going to turn into a schlep. It just, so pick one that has some potential, and then just anything that's going to stop you from reaching that goal, get rid of it. Just get rid of it.
That's deep. You know, when you think about the industry and how people have it, it's in music videos, it's in animations. Like it's to the point where now it's like, okay, it's on a commercial now. So when people start thinking like outside even that terrain, they're not supposed to be in that territory. You now think about the child trauma or things they had to go through, or like the mental health processing or the mentoring or someone that can help you at least go through this process and not feel alone. You know, those are the things that I believe Ever Accountable is doing. And in the new year, you know, it would be great to know what are the things you're thinking. I'm already thinking about having parents like in schools. Hey, if you're in this school, we recommend it's not mandatory, but it's highly essential that, you know, you could have this on your phone, or make sure that you have this connected to, so that it builds community, and that way even kids can connect with each other. So I just think out the box, macro. But what is your thoughts and plans for 2022 going forward?
Yeah, thank you. So one of the big things is for us is we've found that there's a lot of help for people fighting porn in English, but there's not a lot out there for people speaking other languages. Gosh, some of them have like nothing available. So one of the things we're doing this year, we're getting close, we're getting through it, is translating our entire system into 21 different languages. That's a schlep, but I think it's going to be awesome to give people some good help who are looking for help. So that's a big thing. And then another thing, you know, I started this business because I wanted to make the world a better place. And for a while, a couple years ago, my family actually moved to Fiji. We spent a year in Fiji. It's this island out in the South Pacific. It's a third world country. And we found that people there, they all have these cheap Android phones now. But their culture has not prepared them for how to deal with the garbage on these phones. There's good stuff on there, of course, but there's also bad stuff, and it's really hurting them. Their kids are getting into porn and all sorts of stuff. Their crime rate is skyrocketing. They don't know how to deal with it. So with some of the proceeds of Ever Accountable, I hired a guy down there that I met, and he's going around and doing presentations and giving out flyers, teaching people about the dangers of pornography. Just the basics. Parents, here's how to talk to your kids about this. Here's a few things you should do and a few things you shouldn't do. And he's got, they're finding some musicians down there. They're putting on concerts. They're doing volleyball games and pineapple smashing. That's a thing down there. and just having these events about how to stay safe from pornography and the other problems on these phones. And the people are loving it, and that makes me all sorts of happy that we can be giving back in that way. And I'd encourage anyone who's running a business, like, find some way you can give back. And it's not just about money. Of course, if you're not making money, you're going to go out of business. So that's essential. But it's more than that. Get your heart in there, and make the world a better place in however you can.
That's beautiful. It makes sense, because when you talk about money and being out of business, that means you're out of touch with people, because that's where the people actually get to connect to you, being the people that you're serving, which, it's a two-way street. It's not a one-way communication. So I just love that you put it that way, and it's a big thing for us coming in the future.
Yeah, and it's good for profit too, I believe. If the days I'm most passionate about my business are the days I have the best ideas and the days I get the most done, and the days we grow the most. If I'm just, and it's when I focus on the things that make me excited, that cause, and who can we help. So it's almost like if you focus on money, you're going to end up with less of it.
That's true.
That's your entire focus,
That's true. Wow. This is deep. I think it just covers everything, wherever you are in life. It kind of like you fall into one of the categories, because it's like now you feel like, okay, this is making sense. I can relate. I don't know, but this is something that I can actually tell someone about, because information is also great for people to have, so that when they know when to apply it, they know they have some resource or some proof of concept or some mastery to it.
Yeah, that's right. It applies to everyone.
It does. And even speaking of, productions and visuals, I was speaking with Julia not too long ago, and I was excited. I had to tell her, I was like, this trailer blew my mind, because when I watch things, because I also have a media production background as well, and entertainment business background. So when I see good production and I see good quality, good sound, I'm like, I know where this is going to. So, more people are going to see it and have that interaction with it. And where do you see it take off from, that new innovation and that new discovery that people always look for in the new future?
Yeah, what do you think?
We're talking about the Exodus Cry video.
Yes.
So I did want to give the credit to where the credit is due. Exodus Cry produced that, and they are a charity that we partnered with, because they help victims of sex trafficking, which the porn industry has fueled sex trafficking. And that's something I feel really passionate about, and so grateful that I get the opportunity to use my writing, to help. So I didn't write that script. I had nothing to do with that script. So just want to give the credit to where the credit, belongs. But we're grateful for that opportunity to partner with them. And so, yeah, hats off to Exodus Cry for such an amazing production, and whatever we can do to keep that friendship going with them, and support these causes. Did I answer the
That was spot on. That was spot on. I really appreciate that, because when you see those things and you see how you connect with people, it's all about the people. It doesn't have to be me doing it. As long as the people are taken care of and there's a message that has been sent out, then the director is happy, the writer is happy, the people are happy. So it's a very, very good place to be in, and I really appreciate that as well. I would want to ask one more question, which would be, what actionable advice can you leave for our listeners who may have children or growing adults? We've talked about it across the whole episode, but if there's one thing they can take away and say, okay, I heard everything, but what do I need to do now? What can they start doing today that can help them for better tomorrow?
Want to go first, Julia?
Oh, wow. I was going to give you that, but you should have the final wrap up. You can hit on anything I miss. Tyler mentioned it earlier. Please, raising awareness is where we're at, but please be the change. Like, be willing to step forward and be the mentor. Please consider where you're spending your money when you support the porn industry, because women and children and men are being hurt by the industry, and it's a huge industry, and we're kind of like a tiny drop in the bucket, a tiny little voice. So that's where I would start, one step at a time. If you've been watching for years, you might be amazed to see the difference and the potential you have in your life when you start getting rid of porn. We've read customer reviews over and over again, and they talk about how their life changes for the better without porn. So I'll just be blatant.
Thank you, Julia. Yeah, if you've had that nagging feeling like, I should quit this stuff. This isn't good for me. It makes me feel empty and alone and bad after I watch it. Then follow it. Quit. There's a lot of help out there. We can help you. Get ever accountable or get something else. Get accountable. You're going to have to be accountable to quit that. Another thing I think about how can we help our kids is to show them someone they can look up to. I have some heroes. Abraham Lincoln, Harry Truman, Harriet Tubman, Elon Musk, people who had a vision and a passion, and they just went for it. I actually had my daughter read a book about Harriet Tubman, and then I said, "What did you learn?" And she taught our other kids all about her, and how she had this passion for. Here's a woman who came from very difficult beginnings, and grew magnificently and helped others, like break out of real slavery in that case. And yeah, let's talk about it. And now here's pornography, and it is enslaving people as well, and it's enslaving the women who get into the industry and men, and it's enslaving even down to children, and then the people who watch it. So let's get away from that. Talk to your kids in age-appropriate ways. Talk to them often. Be their friends. Show these young people what they can do. I think we can each accomplish so much more than we aim for. When I was a kid, I had an inferiority complex. I didn't think I'd ever amount to anything, and so I didn't get good grades in school because why should I bother? I'm never going to amount to anything anyway. It's kind of how I thought, and I could have gotten straight A's, and later in college I did, but it's like I didn't have that vision for myself, and that kind of took a while for me to get to, and I fear that some people never get there. So let's show them you can do great things. And you can be whatever you want to be. Go do it. And if there's anything holding you back, well, quit. Get it out of your life. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
This is beautiful. Wow. This is an impactful podcast. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Tyler. You have been a beacon of light and just a breath of fresh air, for people just to think again and rethink their process, because this could change their whole new year. This could change their whole new decade. It could change it. The list is endless.
I hope so. And thank you, Favor. This is a great podcast. You're talking about positive things, helping people make something of themselves. I really appreciate that. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Say thank you too for being brave and allowing us to tackle a difficult topic that some people just don't want to talk about. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anything I can do to help, because I believe this is something that we can all do. And now that we all know we have a voice, then our voice can reach out to people that cannot reach out to us directly, and this could change lives. And I'm ready to do that and help other people make that possible as well. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all so much for joining the We Don't Play podcast station. definitely stay in touch. And if there's any way they can reach out to you, what are the best ways possible? If they want to check out the website or the platform, what do they need to do right now? And I want to have that available in the description so that they can have easy access to it.
Yeah, they can go to everaccountable.com, and they can, if you have questions about fighting pornography or business, I'll give you my personal email address. It's tyler@everaccountable.com. I'd love to, if you're trying to fight pornography, or if you're just trying to start a business and you just need a little encouragement, I'd love to encourage you.
You're welcome.
We're on Google Play for the app.
Okay.
Yes, just search for Ever Accountable.
Amazing. This is great. You guys are going to have access to this links, and you have access to it, so you don't have to worry. What did he say? Do I have to rewind it? But this is going to be great. So you have access to everything, and feel free to reach out. And this is going to be great, and I really appreciate your time. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, the rest of your time, and I look forward to connecting with you guys soon.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Take care.
Good talking.
Good talking.